Intro for football.
Here at the second draft, we like to talk about the draft and football, and more particularly the combine. that kind of-
Well, this week anyway. Yeah. Welcome back to the second draft.
that is it, you want to use that as the intro?
Yeah, that's the intro right there. Let's roll with it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
this
okay.
past weekend was the NFL Combine. We talked about this before. I love the preseason. I love the Combine. I love seeing these kids come out of college and show what they got. And a lot of people think it's boring. A lot of people think it's pointless. I think there's more to it besides just the competition and the drills and whatnot. They also spend a lot of time in front of the press. They also spend a lot of time in front of coaches and trainers for NFL teams, answering a bunch of really weird questions so they can catch them off guard and try and judge their character. It's almost like the replicant test in Blade Runner.
The void comp test, yeah.
The void comp test, yeah, thank you. I thought this combine was actually really good because there's a lot of really great quarterbacks, a lot of really great running backs, and a lot of surprises this year. So that's always fun.
Yeah.
We watched Josh Allen bomb out some crazy MFing passes, like 75-yard passes and drills. And he was just throwing it like nothing.
He
made it look
FedExed him.
Yeah, he made it look like me, like throwing a Nerf ball into a trash can or something. It was just insanity. Yeah.
It's bizarre. You have to think about, like, you have to know the future at that point and feel comfortable with the people running the routes.
Yeah.
Because you at that point you're just launching it up, and you have to pinpoint one place where you think your receiver can get to.
Yeah.
And there's certainly an expectation there, especially on the pro level, but wow, unbelievable.
And he just makes it look effortless. It's wild. Like, even the other quarterbacks there, the combine are just like,
Yeah. Did you?
it hasn't come down yet. Yeah, the kid looks good. The other quarterbacks looked really good. Baker Mayfield looked all right. The kid who kind of disappointed was Lamar Jackson, who's expected to go high in the draft. But I was reading up on it, listening to some of the commentary and whatnot, and the general idea is that Lamar Jackson isn't really the pageantry type. He's not the kid who's going to go out and necessarily have a great combine or a great pro day, because he's the dude who likes to get his hands dirty. He likes to be out there on the field, and when he's in the thick of it, with all that stuff running through his head, that's when he performs. So he's not a performer, he's a football player, which I admire. So I still have high hopes for the kid.
Yeah, and that was going to be kind of my main point that I wanted to make in this video. I'd say is that there's something to be said about the inherent athletic ability that we see in the combine versus their intelligence on the field.
Right.
And these drills, there's some kind of inkling that you can glean from that. And obviously these scouts and team managers, coaches, they're all taking a look at film and all the tape from their college experience, and sometimes I'm sure like what happens on a granular level.
Mm-hmm.
But if they can't perform on the field, I don't think they're going to go that high in the draft, regardless of how incredible they perform at the combine.
I think there's a sort of like a street smarts versus book smarts mentality.
Yep.
I think that's kind of, I don't want to take the words out of your mouth, but maybe that's kind of what you're going towards. That's what I'm getting out of what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Is like the combine, we're kind of seeing the book smarts, which is fine, but what are these kids going to do in live pro football situations? I mean, they've played, obviously they're really good in college football, but the NFL is an entirely different animal. The game is played significantly differently. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen kids with a lot of football book smarts, and I'm excited to see them with some football street smarts too. So,
yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that the combine is the book smarts in that analogy, because I think most people would probably think that the opposite, that your street smart is kind of like your gut reaction and inherent ability, which you would see, right? But I think you're right. You're exactly right. It's the opposite. It's your book smart are your natural ability, your combine performance. Do you have the vertical? Do you have the 40-yard dash?
yeah,
Can you complete these drills properly? Do you know the playbook? And then the street smarts are, can you just like bust out an incredible play because you just feel it? And that savoir-faire that like just you can't teach it, inherent athletic ability.
Right. Oop. Yeah, that's exactly what I was getting at. So yeah, a bunch of standouts for the combine this year. Saquon Barkley, holy shit! Okay, so you were looking at stats. It's all over the internet, but we may as well go ahead and get into it. The comparisons between Saquon Barkley and various NFL pros. Do you still have that pulled up?
Yeah, it's insane. So he's got a faster 40-yard dash than Devin Hester. He ran
who is probably a first-round ballot special teamer. He's just incredible. So yeah.
I mean, it's 300ths of a second, but he still had a faster 40.
Faster, man.
He had a better 10-yard split than Deshaun Jackson by 1/100th of a second. An extra rep on top of Joe Thomas in bench press. Two plates.
29 reps, didn't he?
Yep. Joe Thomas had 28. And then
I think I read he beat everybody in the combine besides like 5 linemen, and linemen are historically like the strongest people on the whole circuit. So
right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and then his vertical, which is probably arguably for me the most impressive considering he's a running back, is 41-inch vertical, which beats out what many people can consider the best receiver in the league right now, Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Who, I mean, he's already got the height, so he doesn't have to go too much. He doesn't have to have the vertical.
Yeah, he had to climb up to Julio's level and then jump a little bit extra.
Right, he'd have to climb the ladder for sure.
Yeah.
But Saquon Barkley, he's 6 foot, 230 some odd pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and you were talking about the linemen for the bench press. You want to talk about like weight versus weight lifted ratios. Those guys are all 300, 315, putting up 2 plates as many times as they can. Not that difficult considering they've been doing that since high school. Saquon Barkley, 233. I mean,
so he's
really
literally
impressive.
lifting himself up 29 times. That's just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. Really impressive.
That's one of the reasons why I like the combine. I like seeing those amazing feats.
So other standouts. I know we were talking over the weekend about Shaquem Griffin.
Kid is a dynamo, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's hard to be hot on him as an NFL prospect because there's the obvious fact that he's missing one hand, which it doesn't just mean that he's missing one hand. It means he's got a whole weak side. And that means that coordinators in the NFL are going to know exactly how to play against him, and they're going to be game taping him like crazy. And he's going to be drafted. I mean, the kid is just a freak athlete with or without the extra appendage. If you want to compare, Shaquem Griffin missing one hand and using a prosthetic benched the same amount of weight as Saquon 20 times versus Saquon's 29 times. The kid did it with one hand. He had the fastest recorded 40 time by an LB since they started recording combine times. Like, the kid's a freak. He's going to be an NFL player. But because of the disadvantage, if we're being frank, he's probably going to be like a 4th or 5th rounder. He's not going to be like a 1st rounder. Which is unfortunate, but at the same time, like, he's a hero. So
yeah, he is a hero, and I think honestly, like, what the combine showed is that the hand notwithstanding, he would be a 1st round pick.
Absolutely.
So he'll likely, like you say, go in the 4th or 5th round, but I don't think it's anything that will hinder him to the point where he will not be able to start in the league. Like, those numbers are insane. He was a standout at UCF. I think when you take a look at some of the other, like Pierre Paul, for instance, playing with, and people were saying that might be the end of his career. It absolutely wasn't. He came back and was advocating, but beyond that, was able to perform.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't see that, especially for somebody who's been dealing with that since they were 4 years old. I don't see that as an issue. And I know they really like to show the highlights of him not doing, the 40-yard dash or the vertical, or so much as they liked showing his coverage drill.
Sure.
And I thought that stood out because he had no problem catching the ball, making the pick, and then running down the field.
Yeah.
Like I said, I mean, when you adapt, just like somebody with a limp figures out how to walk without hurting themselves. It's the same kind of concept, but on an athletic. How we use the gladiator analogy.
Right.
On that level, like these guys know how to handle it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. He's not. I mean, it's. I don't want to sound unpolitically correct, but it is kind of cliche at this point to say he's not disabled. He's just differently abled. Because in this particular case, I think that's a shining example of just being differently abled. Again, he does have a weak side, and coaches are going to know how to play against him. But what the kid has done and what he's overcome and what he's achieved, and he just does it as effortlessly as anybody else on the field. Kid catches interceptions one-handed. Kid scoops and scores one-handed. He breaks through the offensive line, and he rushes the passer, and he sacks him one-handed. Like, I couldn't do that shit with 2 hands and 2 feet. Like, I mean, the kid is just a fine, excellent football player. So, yeah. It's going to be exciting to see him play, and he's going to play in the NFL, and he's probably going to, like you said, probably be a starter after all is said and done.
Mm-hmm. One of the things we were talking about was the teams going after in the first round just the shining star from the combine or the shining star from tape or whatever that is, not so much what they need for their team, which might be the downfall for, say, teams like the Cleveland Browns. And before we get to that, I pulled up while I was doing some research. I pulled up an article that was talking about how there was a supposed party thrown by former Cleveland Browns coaches that had been fired that happened at the combine.
I heard that, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Awesome. Just the state of culture in Cleveland.
Party like a fired Cleveland Brown coach party.
Because that party will never stop.
There
will always be a continuous supply of fired coaches from Cleveland. And quarterbacks who get benched after their first season.
Maybe they need to get a Sean McVay in there, like a young firecracker that isn't proven and has an idea of how to fix Cleveland.
I mean, it's clear they can't just keep throwing first-round picks at the team because there's no cohesiveness. That being said, who do you think they're going to draft in the first round? Which quarterback do you think they'll draft with the first overall pick?
I mean, if the combine is an indication, they'll go after Josh Allen. I mean, they'll go after whoever is going to buy them some points in the first few games until inevitably that quarterback. Hopefully this doesn't happen. Inevitably that quarterback gets hurt. I don't know who else would they could take. Could take Sam Darnold. They could take
Josh Rosen.
Rosen or Baker Mayfield, and kind of try to swoop the Jets.
I almost feel like, and I could be wrong. Cleveland fans, if I'm totally wrong, please chew me out in the comments below. I feel like Cleveland is more interested in just getting the highest rated draft pick in the draft to try and convince the season ticket holders to not sell and to keep selling tickets with their renewed faith that, oh my God, this year we're going to do something, instead of actually taking the time to build a proper team.
Well, you can't
run your football team like an NFL, like an NBA team, where you can just get one star player, and that one star player can run the court and bring the fans back and actually start winning games. It doesn't work like that in the NFL, and every time a team tries to do that, like Cleveland's been doing it for God knows how long now, it just doesn't pan out, and you burn these kids out, these immense talents, before they even get a chance to actually flourish in the NFL.
Yeah. Or they're injured because they don't have that cohesion that you talked about. I was going to make a joke about how those people, those season ticket holders, will only not sell because they're ready to buy the Hot Shots New Jersey and then go to all the games.
Right.
But it might be getting to the point now where just your average Joe can hold season tickets for the Cleveland Browns, and they're not going to care.
They're cheap now. Yeah.
I don't see any reason why they shouldn't pull together a team based on what they need. Some people that will be there for a while, maybe build defensively. I know we talked about this a little bit in season, you, me, and Paige, about what the Browns really need to do in order to fix their team, and maybe we could probably do an entire video on just that. But
top 10 things or something,
but I don't know, man. They're gonna go for a hotshot quarterback in their first pick, but they've got the fourth pick too. So what most people are predicting is quarterback, running back, and they're going to try to build something off of 2 hot shots right out of the gate.
I would love to see any of these teams that are currently chasing after Case Keenum or Kirk Cousins make Cleveland an offer and just spread it out. I think
NFL charity.
It's just like, the point we keep harping on is the fact that Cleveland has such a wealth of riches when it comes to the draft picks because they're such a poorly run organization, such a poorly run team. Anytime Cleveland takes those draft picks and turns them into something else so another team can have an opportunity to get a really good player and kind of spread that talent out is good with me. So any of you GMs out there who are not willing to blow all that money needlessly on Kirk Cousins or even Case Keenum, or I don't know if Nick Foles is going to be out there available, but just make Cleveland an offer. In the long run, you're probably going to be saving more because you can plunk down like 145 for 5 years on Kirk Cousins, or you can mortgage off the immediate future with a couple of draft picks and get the 4th overall and get a decent quarterback wherever you need.
And just Cleveland, maybe reach out to the Seahawks because they seem to be offloading all of their valuable players right now.
Yeah. There needs to be some kind of a rule in the NFL where, like, if you have the 1st overall pick like 3 years in a row, you automatically have to go to the 10th overall pick, that like the 4th year or something. Because the tanking is just, I don't know, just something. I'm tired of seeing Cleveland in the top 3 picks, and they pick these talent and they run them into the ground their first season. Like Deshaun Kaiser, like, the kid's good. Any other team, he'd be good. Any other team, a lot of the players they pick up would be good. So it's just frustrating to me. So, anyway, we should move on.
Cool.
To, we can talk about the situation in Seattle. That's really weird right now.
Yeah, Bennett's gone.
Yeah, Bennett has been traded to the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Good for him. Because it seemed like he was super happy in Seattle the last couple of years. So we got Richard Sherman, who is apparently going around and saying all his heartfelt goodbyes to his teammates. That might actually be a bluff, because he's in a contract year. He's coming off an injury, a significant injury. He's kind of getting up there in age, but he's still one of the best shutdown corners in the league.
Yep.
So he and the Seahawks are kind of playing contract chicken, where the Seahawks are like, okay, bye. And Richard Sherman's like, okay, bye. And the Seahawks are like,
will.
Okay, bye. And Richard Sherman's like, okay, bye. And the Seahawks are like, okay, bye. But neither of them wants to actually take the next step. So it could be a bluff, it could be bullshit, or Richard Sherman could be out, and it could be another piece of that Legion of Boom that's walking away.
They'll have that conversation where they mutually agree that he's leaving, and then 10 minutes later, Sherman will get a phone call saying, "Okay, so 2 more years."
Oh, hello, Bill Belichick. Pete Carroll. Bill Belichick is on the phone. Hang on 1 second. Yeah,
he's talking about some Home for Wayward Boys. I don't. Shout out to Paige, who couldn't join us today.
Yeah, again, where is she at? We should do a segment on
somewhere in the Sonoran Desert.
Where in the world is Paige Garrick? Yeah.
I think she's literally in the middle of the Sonoran Desert right now.
She is. She's like in Nevada or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I heard rumors today, I don't know if they're confirmed or not, that the Seahawks are entertaining trade offers for Earl Thomas, which is another piece of that Legion of Boom that could be gone this season. I don't know. Seattle fans, I hope you enjoyed that time in the sun with a 2 Super Bowl run, because you're going to come down to earth. You've been kind of coming down to earth steadily, and now I think it's going to bottom out. So what,
Thomas, Bennett, Chancellor, right? Chancellor?
Yeah, Cam Chancellor, he's questionable to return this season because of a significant neck injury he suffered in November of last year.
Yeah, I'm not going to be hyped on the Seahawks early in the season, at least.
No, that's not going to be a defense you're going to draft early in your fantasy league, or maybe at all. Yeah.
Well, we talked about the offense repeatedly at the end of this last season. Russell Wilson is lucky to not be taken out in an ambulance. So, yeah, there are some other teams to keep an eye out for. Where's Kirk Cousins going to land? That's the big question.
You know, he did something this week that pissed me off. So he's questionably the most sought-after free agent this offseason. And nobody has officially been able to make him an offer yet. So he's kind of... We said in our NFL regular season videos that he was going to end up being like the belle of the ball when it came to free agency, and every team was going to be courting him. And he's kind of soaking up that attention a little much. So he took to social media this week And he started taking suggestions from the public on which team he should go to. Hey, dude, I got a suggestion. Pick a team, get your massive payday, shut the F up. That's my suggestion. And stop looking for attention. You've already got the attention. Don't be a dick about it, man.
So, I mean, where would you send him though if you could pick a team?
He's not a bad quarterback.
He's not. So the people that have been looking at him are Denver, the Bills, obviously the Cardinals,
the Jets.
I read a headline that said recently that said the Vikings. Yeah, the Vikings might swoop him from the Broncos.
I don't know.
That affected a lot of the NFL articles that were coming out saying that the Broncos are going to pick up a quarterback, and they won't do that if they pull Kirk Cousins. So
no,
they must think must be a done deal. They might have. I think maybe Elway decided that if Cousins wasn't ready to lock it down, then he's ready to move on. And that seems like to me a typical Elway move. Like he wants somebody that has the the connection and kind of like the gumption and desire to be a Denver Bronco,
like Peyton Manning.
It
wasn't like, hey Twitter, what team should I pick? Because all these teams want me. Ha ha ha. F you, Kirk Cousins. Not with that kind of attitude. I don't want a prima donna quarterback in my teams. No.
Give him to the Jets. He'll go to he'll get no offers and then end up in New York. That's what I'm expecting. New York or Buffalo. Well,
yeah. You see, yeah.
Yeah. You know what I meant.
Maybe like best case scenario now, maybe he would just go to Cleveland and he would just free up those rookie quarterbacks in the draft. I don't know. I'm over the Kirk Cousins saga now at this point. So.
He goes to Cleveland. They pick up Saquon Barkley, and then they'd probably give up their like 4th round pick for that or something.
Yeah.
Or they'd take it. They'd hold on to it, give away half their money, and then try to build somebody on defense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Linebacker. Pick up a linebacker.
Yeah. The Browns need everything.
Yeah.
They really do. They need everything.
I think they really need to lock down secondary because I feel like most teams walk into Cleveland thinking, oh, it's a field day. We're going to open it up and throw the ball because my quarterback's going to have time and no one's going to cover my whatever hot shot receiver I have.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everybody's able to exploit that. The one game they got closest to was Green Bay, right? And then Green Bay was still able to pull it out because the secondary couldn't hold it together.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, they came close to not having an 0-16 season. So I'll take that for what it is, I guess.
But they had to be perfect.
I'm proud of them. I am.
so proud.
Yeah. That's all I got for football.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty more to talk about, but not about the combine at this current moment, I would say.
And we're still like 50 days out from the draft, so it's still a bit early. Again, I'm not a big believer in mock drafts. I don't love them, so I personally won't be doing them here. I much prefer to just wait until we get closer to the big day, April 28th, and start discussing it a little bit there. Once we kind of know how things shake out, like once free agency starts out and the needs that teams have started getting like filled out and whatnot, then you get a true shape of how teams might start drafting. So, yeah.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah.
Cool. Let us know what you think. Tell us your combine picks. If you're a mock draft person, let us know your top 5. And, join us next time when we talk about our predictions for the draft. There'll be other videos between there. But
yeah,
if you're a football follower, tune in for that one.
Yeah. So, cheers.
Cheers. Over the mic.